So, good morning, everyone. I'm Larry Alford. I'm the University Chief Librarian. And on behalf of the University of Toronto Libraries and the University of Toronto, I want to thank you for joining us today to this wonderful celebration of this new space. Before we begin, I do wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates and upon which this beautiful new space was built. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional home of the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this gathering place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we're grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Also, before we begin today, I do want to recognize that sadly yesterday marked the end of an era with the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. She was a remarkable, remarkable leader and historic figure who has seen us through many important moments in history. For many of us, she is the only monarch we remember ever. Flags on the University of Toronto's 3 campuses have been lowered to half-mast in her honor until the day of the state funeral, and President Gertler has released a statement which you can find on the university's website. So let us honor her memory with a moment of silence. So thank you. So to talk about today's event, after many years, I believe it goes back to 2005, many years of planning and much anticipation, Robarts Common, the culmination of the Robarts Library Revitalization Project, is finally open. The University of Toronto Libraries are increasingly becoming a very different destination that elevates the student experience on campus through reimagined spaces. Now more than ever, we are supporting the academic success while looking to the holistic needs of our students. Our libraries are increasingly leaning into the mission to be at the heart of the university, figuratively, but also in some ways literally, by providing innovative and inclusive places of gathering, communication, and collaboration. With the opening of Robarts Common, thousands of daily users will experience the entire library complex as a more collaborative and human-centered space, a campus living room for students and faculty alike to gather, to learn, to network, and to socialize. This building is the final step in completing the UTL vision to restore, revitalize, and expand Robarts Library, which will soon be 50 years old, next year actually, as a center for research, study, and learning, and as a user-centric space that embodies the inclusive excellence that defines the mission of the University of Toronto, a vision that extends to all of the 40-plus libraries across the University of Toronto. Robarts Common adds over 1,200 new work and study spaces to Robarts Library. It's flooded, as you can see, with natural light, with ample seating, with lots of modern technology, particularly in the group study rooms, and full Wi-Fi internet connectivity, making the overall environment more inviting, accessible, and productive for students. And I'm just going to quickly tell a quick anecdote. Last spring, as the construction was finished, we did a very, very soft opening of the doors, unlocking of the doors. We actually didn't announce that it was being opened. We just unlocked the doors and let students start coming in. By the afternoon, the students had announced it themselves, and this space, literally every single seat, virtually every single seat was taken by the afternoon. It was amazing to see the students find the space and start using it like it had always been here. So this is thanks to the extraordinary philanthropy of the late Drs. Russell and Catherine Morrison, along with the generosity of over 1,000 individual donors, some of whom are with us today, that has allowed the university and the libraries to achieve this goal at last. I'm saddened that Russell and Catherine could not be with us today to see this extraordinary project become a reality, but we're very honored that their son, Rob Morrison, and their daughter, Donna Morrison-Reed, and other members of the Morrison family are present with us today. I hope that you are able to take note of the plaque recognizing Russell and Catherine. It's a visible sign of their ongoing spirit and legacy and their commitment to the students of this university and to the student experience. This breathtaking new building would not have been possible without so many people, and I want to acknowledge the following individuals, each of whom served as pillars of leadership in the development and building of Robarts Common. First, my esteemed predecessor who is with us today, the former Chief Librarian Carol Moore, who shepherded this project from its inception, and Alfred Cheng, the library's Chief Administrative Officer during much of this project, Megan Campbell, who served as Director of Advancement during the Boundless campaign, Larry Langford, our retired head of user services, who has always been faithfully committed to the student experience at the libraries, I also want to acknowledge our partners at the university whose support has been vital. University colleagues Blair Eureka, Kent Al, Naonet Chodi, and Nicole Wilkinson from Best Caretaking, Walter Acosta and Jesse Cardosa, and the entire caretaking team who've worked tirelessly in this building over the last few months. And our capital projects at the UTL and Health and Safety and Security and Business Services colleagues, including Glenn Morales, Emily Lang, Angelica Stopi, Jason Carmichael, Susan Grope, Julian Mitchell, and our entire shipping and receiving team who did a lot of work to help make this happen as well. The Library Information Technology Services and Information Commons team, Sam Kumar, who's with us today, and the Harbridge and Cross Limited team. They are the general contractor who helped build this wonderful space we stand in. And last and certainly not least, Gary McCluskey, the Diamond Schmidt team, including Aaron Costain, who are with us today, for their exemplary design and vision for the space, as well as Don Schmidt is actually with us today. They helped us create an enduring symbol of the academic library's ongoing evolution to greater and greater openness, inclusion, and excellence. So thank you all and all the other countless people who helped make this happen. And now I'd like to welcome the University of Toronto's president, Merritt Gertler, to say a few words. Merritt.
Thank you so much, Larry. Good morning, everybody. I am so delighted to be joining in the official opening of Robarts Common. As you can see for yourself, an inviting and much needed new study space for students at U of T, and also a brilliant addition to one of Canada's most iconic buildings. I'd like to echo Larry's words of welcome, especially to the representatives of the Morrison family and the Morrison Foundation, Rob Morrison, son of our esteemed benefactors, Doctors Russell and Catherine Morrison, Charlotte Morrison-Reed, Russell and Catherine's granddaughter, and her spouse, Chris Sanford, and Peter Nurmi, a trustee of the Morrison Foundation. Now, some people claim that Albert Einstein once said, "The only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library." Now, there's some dispute as to whether he actually said it or not, but whether he did or not, I think we can agree that this is especially true for university students. For them, the library is so much more than a crucial learning resource. From orientation to convocation, undergraduate and graduate students alike spend a lot of time here. And for many, it becomes a home away from home. The university library is where students grapple with world and life-changing ideas, where they pursue groundbreaking research, where they connect with peers, whether in casual debate or in preparing for exams. And often, in doing so, it's a place where students form indelible memories and lifelong friendships. Now, as Larry noted in his opening remarks, Robarts Library and the U of T library system as a whole, these have been undergoing a profound transformation in recent years. This reflects a new understanding of how libraries should function, recognizing and enhancing their significance as places for social interaction, and especially as landing places for students between classes throughout the day. Russell and Catherine Morrison understood well the library's central place in a student's intellectual development, but also in their overall educational experience. And Robarts Common embodies all of these ideas so well. Russell and Catherine were profoundly dedicated to ensuring that our U of T students would have access to the very best library and study spaces, state-of-the-art, comfortable, and beautiful. And through their vision and their generosity, they have done just that, together with the many other donors who have made these light-filled, beautiful spaces possible. And so, on behalf of the University of Toronto, I would like to extend my thanks to the people and the groups who have brought us to this wonderful day. U of T's Division of University Planning, Design, and Construction, the architects Diamond Schmidt, who've already been recognized, the builders, Harbridge and Cross. I want to give a shout out to two provosts, our current provost, Cheryl Reguer, and her predecessor, Cheryl Misak, both of whom were such wonderful champions of this project. And of course, the late Russell and Catherine Morrison and their family at the Morrison Foundation and our many generous benefactors and supporters. Thank you all. Now, I am honored to invite Rob Morrison to say a few words on behalf of his parents and family and the Morrison Foundation. Rob, the podium is yours.
I just want to start by saying a few things about Russell himself. Both Russell and Catherine were intimately involved in this project, but I think it's probably fair to say that Russell was the initial spark. I recall when Russell and Catherine received their honorary degrees from the University of Toronto in 2004, and I happen to remember Russell's speech. Curiously, perhaps, he extolled the graduating students to learn, and be willing even to take a career which might not pay the most money, but would just give them the opportunity to learn as much as possible and move in different directions. This is actually what Russell himself did in his early career. I'll give you just a little bit of history. He went to the University of Chicago in economics and did a couple of years teaching at Vanderbilt in the South. I believe it's my mother who insisted that their children were not going to be raised in a place and at a time when segregation was still very much alive. They moved north to Ottawa, where Russell had a job for 1 year working for our federal government. And I don't think he liked it very much in the 1 year. His one claim to fame was that he wrote a speech for C.D. Howe. And his claim was, and I'm sure this is correct, that C.D. Howe generally made adjustments to his speech, and that this was one that he actually didn't. So an interesting bit of history. But regardless, he definitely fell within the train of thought wherein it's best to broaden one's knowledge as best one can, even if it involves a little bit of sacrifice. And he had a kind of enduring faith that it would all end up for the best if one did that. That said, I would add that that's asking quite a lot in today's very competitive and very specialized world. And it reminds me of a very brief story. My sister and brother-in-law, Leslie and Anthony Sinclair, both with mechanical engineering at different times here at U of T, were over visiting, and I pitched them on a video I found from an amazing mathematics YouTube channel called 3 Blue, 1 Brown. And I said, isn't that incredible? You want to show that to your students. And I think they both groaned and said, well, they're going to ask us if it's going to be on the exam. And if it's not, then they won't be interested. With regard to this question of breadth versus specialization, I would suggest we have reasons for both hope and despair. And there's nowhere where we can find this more than on the internet, where there are truly extraordinary resources available. But as we also know, the internet has, in many corners, also become a vehicle for cult thinking and otherwise the worst kinds of mental narrowness. That will play out in time, I guess. But there is another area where we try to confront both extreme narrowness, good or bad, and even outright ignorance, and that is in architecture. The idea that a beautiful space can inspire the growth of beautiful minds is, of course, an ancient one. We see its expression in so many of the older buildings here at U of T. That has entered into a new chapter, not for the first time, with this building because of advances, partly, in the glassmaker's art. In closing, I'd like to say I'm thinking of three beautiful old buildings: the Louvre in Paris, Toronto's own Royal Ontario Museum, and Robarts Library. I will call them the gold casket, the silver casket, and the lead casket. They've all tried to enhance themselves by bringing the modern to bear on the ancient. Who would have thought that the lead casket was the winner and got it best? Just my opinion, but I think there are a lot of students who clearly would agree with me. I'm sure it will be an inspiration to everyone who comes here, to some more than others, and the results hopefully will pop up here and there, and we'll never know for decades. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. I agree with you. The lead casket is clearly the winner. And having you and your family here today means so much to our university community. Your parents were so passionate about student experience, so thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our student speaker, Ryan Levy, to speak about the impact of this donation firsthand. He is a third-year student in literature and critical theory at Victoria College in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. He's also, I'm delighted to say, one of the 6 recipients of this year's Patricia and Peter Shannon Wilson Undergraduate Research Prize. And somehow in his spare time, he's also co-editor-in-chief of the Strand student newspaper. Ryan.
I want to start by saying thank you both to Larry and to everyone who thought of me coming here today. It was definitely a surprise receiving this email, but I'll get right into speaking on behalf of the students. I remember walking into the Thomas Fisher Rare Books Library as an 11th grade student touring the U of T campus for the first time and thinking, okay, this is it. I want to learn here. 4 years and a pandemic later, not being able to go into the Fisher because of COVID requirements and restrictions, I received an email asking if I wanted to speak at the opening of the Robarts Commons based on a speech I gave at the Fisher this spring for that award. Like many students, when I'm not in class, you can probably find me in one of U of T's many libraries, whether it's Robarts, E.J. Pratt, or probably now the Robarts Common. Although the libraries are institutions of knowledge and information, they're also community spaces that break down the barriers between students, faculty, staff, librarians, and general researchers from the community. Although we're accessing the library to learn something new, supplement what we already know, or to engage with other members of the U of T community, the University of Toronto libraries are always there to facilitate this rich academic and personal exploration. The completion of the Robarts Commons, even though it happened a couple of months ago, signifies a space that is open and dedicated to this exploration. Whether students are grabbing books off of the stacks just across one of those walkways to open them on one of these tables, or gathering with their classmates in one of the study rooms to cram or prepare an assignment, or just meeting up with a friend to sit at one of the windows to watch the bustling campus below between classes, I suspect this space will only amplify Robarts' role as U of T's heart on campus. Its student-forward architecture and design has already drawn students in, as Larry pointed out earlier, and I'm sure that it will quickly become a favorite spot of students from all 3 campuses. And I also suspect that as the Commons becomes a staple of campus life, prospective students will tour this space and have the same realization that I had when I walked into the Fisher, that they want to learn here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I think that Russell and Catherine Morrison would be thrilled to know how quickly the Commons has really built a community on campus and has become just a part of student life. So thank you so much for your words and your support. And now, it's my pleasure, I'm delighted to invite Janet Decker to the stage. I am told, Janet, this is your the first event that you're speaking in your new role as chair of the Governing Council at the university, so congratulations on your appointment. Thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you very, very much, Larry. And you can always tell how important an event is by how many speakers you have to sit through. So trust me, this is a really important event. But it's very much my privilege to be here to help in the ribbon cutting. As some of you may know, I did spend a number of years as a cabinet minister, so you did go out and cut lots of ribbons, so I hope I remember how to do it. But I'm very pleased to be here with all of you today. And some of my fondest memories of my childhood are of the library in the little town of Exeter where I grew up, and I can well remember the polished wood tables and the great big stacks of thousands of wonderful books and the wonderful smell of being in a library. And I married a man who came with his own library, and for a lot of people that do prenuptial agreements for the financial assets, we had to do a prenuptial agreement for who had what books. So anyway, very pleased to be here to see this wonderful, wonderful facility. And I think there's lots of talk here at U of T, sincere talk, about how do we improve and enhance the student experience? How do we elevate the student experience? And of course, there's lots of ways to do that. But one of the ways, and one of the ways that is proving successful, is just giving students space. Space that they need to feel safe, to feel welcome, to feel at home, space to be themselves, brilliant, expressive, compassionate, space to do what they need to do to succeed, to focus, to be still with a challenging text, to refine complex thoughts, and space to talk about school for sure, but also about life and the events of the day, from the weighty, complex issues of things like food, film, and the latest TikTok, those daily occurrences and details that bring fun and laughter, comfort, that help establish lifelong relationships. So believe it or not, these kinds of spaces can be rare and even precious, but they are also necessary, not just for the student experience, but for open inquiry and research, for democratic debate. Remember that? We do that. We need to do that. Civic engagement, matters crucial to the future of our country, our society, and indeed of our world, which is why this space, Robarts Common, is so important, opening on the heels of a global pandemic that reminded us how important being together is, not on a laptop in the virtual space of a Zoom meeting, but together, side by side, in person. And it's something we should never take for granted. It's this vision of space and the centrality of the library in creating space for student life that sets U of T libraries apart as one of this university's most beloved institutions. So congratulations from the Governing Council of U of T. Congratulations to Larry and his team, to his predecessors who got the ball rolling, certainly to all of the other donors, but certainly to the Harrison family. Today, I think, after we've seen all the comments about what devotion and public service is all about with the death of Queen Elizabeth, it's very appropriate today that we are honoring a family who takes that kind of responsibility very, very seriously. So congratulations to all of you. I look forward to all of the students enjoying this space immensely. And I'd now like to invite all of us up that are supposed to be here to cut this wonderful ribbon.
So thank you so much, Janet, and everybody. We're incredibly pleased again to have your presence here today. And now I would like to, it's my pleasure and honor to invite the Chancellor of the University of Toronto, Rose Patton, to provide the closing remarks on the Robarts Common and its potential to defy gravity. Chancellor.
Okay, this has been quite wonderful, hasn't it? All of what's been said and all of you being here. it's my great honor to be here as well and to have this moment to give you a few closing remarks. So thank you, everyone, first of all, for being here. Now, Merrick started with a thought about Einstein and his quote. I do have a quote which I want you to allow me to give to you because it is so representative of what we're knowing about what's happening today and what we know about this wonderful library. It's by R. David Lanks, and by the way, he's a professor of librarianship at the other U of T. Did you know there was another one? Yes, of course you did. That's the University of Texas at Austin. He said, and I quote, "Bad libraries build collections. Good libraries build services. Great libraries build communities." Robarts Library is the flagship of one of the largest, most comprehensive libraries collections on earth. Tick box. It's an icon of the University of Toronto itself, which is one of the world's leading institutions of higher education and advanced research. And in many ways, Robarts Library is the heart, and our student speaker mentioned this, it's the heart of our academic community, a wonderfully diverse, energetic, and creative community, united in our mission of learning and discovery. And now, with the addition of Robarts Common, this monumental building is even better equipped to fill this very crucial role. It was designed expressively to provide an outstanding environment for our students to pursue their studies individually and in groups, to increase significantly the number of study spaces available, and to provide, as Merrick had mentioned, our president, a home away from home. This is like a home away from home. And so as we see our donors, the designers, the builders, and everyone involved in the creation of Robarts Common have succeeded with those goals brilliantly. They've given us beautiful spaces for connection, for collaboration, and for togetherness, a place that no doubt will be a favorite destination for our talented students for generations to come. It's also a place that embodies the spirit of our current university-wide campaign, Defy Gravity, in which supporting students' success is one of our top priorities. And so now, before we conclude the formal portion of our program, I would like to congratulate our Master of Ceremonies and Chief Librarian, Larry Alford, on a very successful opening of this magnificent facility. His warmth and his enthusiasm just bounced when we came in the room. And thank you, Larry, for all that you have said and done. And to everyone who's joined us today, on behalf of the University of Toronto, I thank you for being here. This is a very, very happy day. And now I will invite everyone to stay and enjoy some refreshments and, of course, continuing conversation and this wonderful energy that comes from us all being back in person. Thank you.